Hey guys, be sure to check out the Mortar Pod, our weekly video podcast, and also check out the tutorial video for my board game, Travelers of Storia. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're doing another M15 Swiss draft. Opening Avison, who's got to be the pick. She's awesome. Also Juggernaut in here. And Shaman of Spring, Scrapyard Mongrel, Species. Not a terribly deep pack beyond the Avison, but yeah, it seems like a pretty easy first pick. Can't really hope to wield too much. Ephemeral Shields. Definitely the deck where you play Avison, you want an Ephemeral Shields or two because she is a big target. Okay, pick 2. Strongest card in this pack is probably the Sunblade Elf, who I'm fine with picking up here. I've done green-white before, and I believe I won with it the one time I did it, but I didn't even get a Sunblade Elf that time around. 1 mana, 2/2s, usually pretty good. Otherwise, Gargoyle Sentinel is good pickup. Heliod's Pilgrim is good. I like that card. Marked by Honor is fine. I've played it a few times. Nothing else too insane in here. Welkin Turn, Typhoid Rats, both pretty playable. Another Mongrel. Let's take the Elf. See if we can't make green-white work. If not, it's not the end of the world. Alright, Midnight Guard, definitely good. Living Totem I think is better. It's more expensive technically, but it's got Convoke on it and it buffs stuff, so I like it more. It's got some very good synergistic qualities with stuff like Invasive Species that we saw in Pack 1. Beyond that, Nimbus of the Isles is pretty good. Witch's Familiar and the Crow are nice. Nothing else too much standing out. Another Encrust is fine. Alright. So now we have Selfless Cathar, which I think I want to take. I do love this card. There's also Shaman of Spring, but 4-drop, I mean, I like Shaman of Spring. I don't have any issues with it at all. It's just a matter of the 4-drop on it. Usually 4-drops are easy to come by, is pretty much all I've learned. So I could take the Pilgrim. I actually think I'm going to take the Cathar. I think I actually like the Cathar more than the Pilgrim, believe it or not. Other good picks in here. Another Crippling Blight, pretty good. Shrapnel Blast. I feel like I've yet to see this card actually played, believe it or not, in all the drafting I've done. Yeah, not too much else. Torch Fiend's fine. Thundering Giant's playable. Let's take the Cathar. Okay. Still getting Pilgrims for days, so at this point, I think I might be ready to just take it. Nothing else too crazy good in here. Another Shrapnel Blast, surprisingly, but Amphin Pathmage is pretty good. It's got to be the strongest card left in here, and followed by Shrapnel Blast maybe. But Pilgrim's fine at this point. Don't have any auras yet, but doesn't mean we can't get any. Warden of the Beyond, it does have Vigilance, which is good for Convoke. And it's also good when you put a +1/+1 counter on it, but I think I'm feeling the Venom Sliver just a little bit more. It's difficult to exile things. You pretty much need... There's not that many cards that do it, to be honest. There's the Pillar, name escapes me, 3-drop that exiles 4 toughness guys. Maybe we'll see it, but I think Venom Sliver is just better. Death Touch is... I would argue better in this format than in many of the previous limited environments I've played in. Alright, Swiftclaw is usually a pretty hot pickup. There's also a Razorfoot Griffin, which is fine, but I've come to just really highly value the 1 and 2 drops and 3 drops in this format, so I'm going to take the Swiftclaw. It's a big threat and trades up when you're playing it defensively, so it's just an all-around great card. Razorfoot Griffin has done some amazing things for me, though, so I don't want to throw it under the bus, but I think I just like the Swiftclaw more. That's a late in Soul artifact, that's for sure. Ranger's Guile, Marked by Honor. Well, Marked by Honor is a legitimate pickup for our Heliod's Pilgrim. I like it a lot on a Venom Sliver as well. It's pretty good. Ranger's Guile protects, which is very valuable to have for Avison. But I think I am going to take the Marked by Honor here because we've got the Pilgrim already, and I'd like to make that work. if possible. All right, got the ephemeral shields anyway, so rewarded. There's our way to protect Avacyn. It's certainly fine on anything, really, but very good on a Venom Sliver as well. Getting that, you know, extra death touch. Solemn Offering would be fine as well, main deck or sideboard, but I'm going to take the ephemeral shields. All right, table to Pilgrim anyway, so also it's a late Blight and Mongrel, but I'm still going to try and stick with this green-white thing if I can. All right, we'll take the Wall of Essence. It's totally playable. If we happen to get any Pride Mates, it's a nice card to have. Otherwise, it's fine main deck or sideboard if you've got a good, you know, late game plan, or if you're going up against aggressive red things. Let's, I suppose, take the Crippling Blight. And we'll cut the white a little bit more. All right. So we have a decent path going for green-white. I don't think we were getting cut too hard. I mean, I very much imagine we're competing in these colors, but even with the competition, I'm still pretty happy with what we got. I like these guys a lot, the Helliod's Pilgrims. They're good. All right, Geist of the Moors, flies, that's pretty valuable. Siege Worm is a bomb threat. Currently, Yisan I like a lot in this deck, since not only is 3 mana 2/3 good, but he's got a great curve right now to find things. So I think I am going to take the rare here, despite Geist of the Moors, Siege Worm being awesome cards as well, and ones I'd be happy to play. I think I just really value the Yisan a lot. I like it. I think it's good in this deck. It's very good additional value that you can get. Wow, past the Soul of Innistrad. Well, yeah, well, also past the Triplicate Spirit, so I guess that's an obvious pick then. I was going to say, what are the chances of me going out of green just so I can get a Soul of Innistrad? And since there's both a Triplicate Spirits and Elvish Mystic and a Living Totem in here, that's actually 0% chance of doing it. So very easy Triplicate Spirits pickup. We've already got some bomb synergistic cards with it. Yeah, I'd like to take Soul of Innistrad or Elvish Mystic or Living Totem, but yeah, we're sticking with this green-white plan as far as I'm concerned. Picking up the greatest card in the format, huh? Okay, we can take the Paragon here, I think, over the Swiftclaw. As much as I value 2 drops over 4 drops, it's pretty hard to deny a Paragon right after a Triplicate Spirits. That just doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, taking a Lord. All right, another Cathar. I'm loving that, but not as much as a Netcaster Spider, which is a better card. So we're going to take the Spider here, despite Cathar still having good synergies and just being an awesome card in general. In this case, Netcaster Spider is definitely better, so we'll take it. Okay, Gather Courage. I love that card. Turns out there's not much for us beyond it, so seems like a pretty easy pickup. Flesh to Dust in here for that black player. They're going to dig that. For now, let's cut the Wall of Essence from the main deck. I'd prefer to not have to main deck that. Yeah, other than that, taking Gather Courage, moving on. Okay, we've got some options. Reclamation Sage is a card I've come to like quite a bit. I value it higher now than I did when I first saw it at the beginning. There's just so many good playable enchantments, but more specifically artifacts in this format, like the Convoked Golem and the Brawler's Plate and just stuff like that. So I think I want to take the Reclamation Sage. I also like Charging Rhino and the Skirmisher. But the Sage, the 2-for-1 potential on the Sage makes it the pick here in my mind. There's just a lot of times I want to blow stuff up with it. Alright, I guess we can take the Shaman of Spring. We're alright with getting another 4-drop here. Although, we are going to want to start to lower the curve just a bit more. Here we go. Alright. Invasive Species. Dallas River Marshal's cool too, but Species actually has some good synergies with Living Totem and Reclamation Sage, so seems like the right choice. Also, Helliod's Pilgrim technically, but currently we've only got just the Marked by Honor to synergize with it, so I'm not sure if those are going to pan out or not. Alright, well we could take the Divine Favor here and ensure that the Pilgrims are more useful, but I think I'd actually rather have the Bear. We're short on cheap creatures, and I want to lower our curve since we already have a great plan at winning. I'm going to take the Bear. All right. Tabling a living totem, always always good. Getting quite a few 4-drops, but that's alright. I guess we can take the Moss Beast here. Sure, Missionaries, I don't think we're playing them. Vine Weft, I guess. Ranger's Guile, there we go. That's actually a surprising second to last pick. I like that. I like the Ranger's Guile a lot. Be happy to play that in here. So I think we're good on protection now for our Avacyn between Ranger's Guile and Ephemeral Shields. Only need 2 more cards to actually make this a deck. But at this point I think I can probably start to weed out the Heliod's Pilgrim. We just really don't have a very good foundational enchantment theme going. And at this point between Avacyn and Triplicate Spirits I'd like to just focus on those 2 cards, I think. Okay. Got a Swift Claw here, which I think we're just going to take because we're going to play it, and it's aggressive. So Swift Claw's first pick, and maybe Wheel the Divine Favor could make the Pilgrims more realistic, but we'll see. So this deck is extremely short on removal, so short on removal in fact that I can't even spot any. Alright, so there's a Siege Worm in here, but I think the Twin Grove actually does get the pick, especially since we have the means to do it again. So yeah, we're going to take that over the second Siege Worm we've seen, but that's alright. I guess we're so much deeper white, aren't we? It's going to be tough to make. I think because we're so deep white and we don't need much green at all, I should actually just take the Siege Worm. Seems strange because this card is actually very powerful, but in this case this deck really is gonna only reward me for splitting my mana base accordingly to fit Avacyn's needs. So I think it just makes more sense to take the card that can be convoked out and doesn't require me to have a bunch of forests to actually be powerful. Okay, so Venom Sliver number 2 would get me another early creature. Why don't we just cut the whole Heliod's Pilgrim theme and just get rid of that theme for now. I think I want another Balmy Threat and Siege Worm because we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 creatures 3 mana or less, and Siege Worm is very awesome. So I'm going to take the second one here actually. A third Living Totem is fine. Pillar of Light is actual removal, though, which could be wise. I didn't get that Warden, but we could probably still play Pillar of Light. I don't know. Living Totem just does not get any weaker in multiples. In fact, it gets stronger. But we are so short on removal that it kind of makes sense to take the Pillar of Light. So I guess I'll do that. It's a little bit more fitting with the theme of the deck. Alright, Oppressive Raise is actually removal, but I think I'm going to take the second Selfless Cathar, mostly because we've got double Siege Worm now and Triplicate Spirits, so we actually have expensive stuff that super rewards us for playing cheap creatures to get them out faster. So in my mind, the Selfless Cathar makes more sense than the Oppressive Raise here, coupled with the fact that we're not going to play the Pilgrims, I don't think. So let's just take the second Selfless Cathar happily. Okay, I mean, Wayfinder's a card. I'm going to take the Skirmisher because we actually look like we can be pretty aggressive. So much so that I probably can cut the Shaman of Spring here. Not that it's bad, it's just I'd rather play all of these other cheap things instead, I think. So let's get rid of the Shaman. Let's take the Skirmisher. Alright, Titanic Growth's a great card. I like it a lot. Happily take it here. What are we going to cut for it? Maybe the Ranger's Guile. I'd rather play the Ephemeral Shields because you can potentially do it for free if you're tapped out, which I think I like more than the Ranger's Guile. So let's take the Titanic Growth, which I think is actually a better card main deck than the Ranger's Guile. And then if we go up against the Million Deep Flesh to Dust deck, we can always bring it back. All right, well, we got the living totem anyway. We got to take the third one here. That's insane. There was a bronze sable in there, but that's okay. Plummet, good sideboard card. Take that. I'm not going to play any of these, I don't think. Actually, I could play the Tyrant's Machine out of sideboard against something hugely bomby I can't deal with. Third Selfless Cathar? Jeez. That's pretty awesome. Definitely going to do that. I love these cards. Let's do an experiment today. I'm gonna legitimately see how much I like. That could be playable. I'm gonna legitimately see how much I like Selfless Cathar because I'm gonna try and play 3 of them today. So we'll see how that pans out for me. Yeah, the rest seem obvious. We've got to make 2 cuts, presumably, to make 17 land deck. Do I need 17 lands? I mean, the immediate gut answer is yes, because I've got double Siege Worm. But remember, they convoke out, as does Triplicate Spirits. But I think with the color intensity we've got for Avacyn, it probably makes sense to run 17 lands. So let's just separate out spells from removal. This is technically, or creatures from removal, rather, excuse me. So really, we have 21 creatures. That is insane. That is a lot of creatures. A lot of creatures. I don't want to cut any of our tricks because we're so removal light that there's just going to be some decks we can't beat. So I think it makes more sense to cut the Reclamation Sage main deck. It's going to be an excellent sideboard card. And then one more creature. I'd prefer to not cut a Selfless Cathar. I like getting the jump on opponents right away, especially with all... We've got 6 Convoke spells in here, so our 1-drops are just very, very good. Paragon looks excellent in here. Could cut the bear. I think I actually like the Cathar more than the bear. And even more so given the fact that we've got this white Paragon. I mean, let's face it, Runeclaw Bear is just a 2-mana 2/2. Whereas everything else in here, even though it's a 2-mana 1/1, I value the Death Touch higher than I value an extra power and toughness, even if we're on a beatdown plan. I mean, in perfect world, I don't cut anything, really, because everything looks good. But I think legitimately Runeclaw Bear looks like the weakest link here. All right, yeah, this is a phenomenal looking deck. I think it's very powerful. Very powerful looking deck. Obviously the downside, extremely short on removal. No Hunt the Weaks. No Banishing Lights. That's not the name of it. Banishing whatever. The 3-drop that exiles attackers or blockers. I feel like I haven't played that card once in 28 drafts, but that can't be right. I must have had it at one point. I honestly cannot remember one time that I got to play that card. It is uncommon, so I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm happy that we picked up the Sunblade Elf pick too, since this is just a great card too. So we need to be more white than green. That much is for sure. Even though we have the double green here, we've got to lean towards white, which I think they will do, yeah. So they're going to go ahead and do that, but I almost think, do we need to do 10-7? Because of the triple white? Or is that going to be a big problem because of the sheer amount of green we've got? For the most part, we only need 1 green. I think that's the reason that I want to do 10-7. but we are like a pretty even split of white and green spells, to be honest. So we need to see green. But I would think with 7 sources of green, we could see 1, you know? So I'm gonna go 10-7. I just really want to make sure we can hit our triple white for Avacyn. And I'm less confident in doing that with 9 than I am with 10. I'm pretty confident with seeing 1 green source with 7, though, for our green spells. So it's hard to rate this deck. I would say it's, considering no removal, I would still say it's like 7 out of 10, just because it's there's so many good, cheap things to do. It stays busy. I think that's the main reason why I think this deck looks good. It looks like it's a deck that can stay very busy with not too much resources. But we'll see. So trying it out like this, we'll see you round 1.